Hello 923 subscribers. Today I'm going to show you how I built and sold an AI automation that can scrape a marketplace and generate reports based on the results. I'll obviously share the structure as well as all of the templates in my resource hub for free. I'll also share the strategy that I used to reach out to this prospect, as well as how much I charged and what was the closing process. Let's jump into the demo. I'll show you how it works and we'll discuss the details. First, this is the solution that was made for appraisal company, which essentially work with insurance companies to evaluate different vehicles. This is the primary task that they do. This is a company which is very similar to the one, this is one of the competitors, to the one that we are building this solution for. So let me actually show you how it works. You can think about Airtable as an interface. So in the ideal world, they will add a new field and will input all the parameters about the vehicle. So we have like the make, essentially the car, the model, the year, city, state, zip code, radius, minimum price and maximum price. Then when we click this thing, it will generate the report. Obviously, it will do this through the make automation. So let me click it. Because it will take like a minute or so. So I will cut this video, it will generate the report, and then we'll go over the details, right? So let me actually start this automation so that you can see in real life how it works. And let me click this button. Okay, so as you can see, the automation is working. So it's creating the document right now. And if we go here, it populates the document. And if we click, so it should provide us the two cars. Obviously, it is very, very simplified version and it's not finalized. So as you can see, the columns are not correct. I want to give a few disclaimers. As you know, I'm pretty open with the clients that we work with, as well as the money that I make from my agency. I share a lot of videos on this channel. So this is not a final solution. Essentially, I have just closed this client and we already did the prototype for them and right now developing the final solution. I just was trying to find a good idea for the video and I decided that you guys would love to see something like that. The final version will obviously have more features. For example, it's right now in this stage, I would say it's 30% ready, because one of the main features is that we do want the customer to input. So we will have, like, let's say an additional field with comments, and in the comments they will say, okay, so what type of a car they're looking for. Because on the back end, and again we'll jump into the make, I'll show you how it works, we are using Epify to scrape the AutoTrader. AutoTrader is one of the platforms that we're gonna work with, so I think we'll have 3 or 4. We're still in the process. Again, we'll probably develop the final solution for just one platform and add one, like a few more later on. So since AutoTrader usually will have more cars, more than just 2 cars in this example. So as you can see, it generated the 2 cars for this specific report. And of course, it depends on the radius. If it's like 31, it might be like less cars. And if it's like 1,000 miles, it's going to be much more. But again, so the idea is that when they will input the comments on what car they're looking for, AI, after the results were scraped, AI will analyze the results, find the best, the matches, the exact matches, or the most closest matches to the cars they are looking for, besides the specific parameters in the comments, and then we'll populate the report. Okay, now, so let's jump here and I'll show you the structure. Essentially, for the building, we use 4 main apps. We use Epify that is connected to AutoTrader. Epify, it's not an app, it's more like a toolkit that allows you to create different scrapers. We will probably, again, we're like still in the evaluating process because we already like charge half of the money to the client, but we're still trying to figure out what would be the best way to do that, because we don't want to use the default scraper Apify has great store with a lot of different apps, and fortunately, they did have an app with Auto Trader for the Auto Trader, so for the UK and the US. So maybe we will create our own scraper. It's not as hard to do, so based on what they have right here. And we'll probably use this one, but for right now we're just using the default one. Okay, for the sake of this demo. Now, this is the Apify and AutoTrader. Make is obviously the software that we use to process the automation, Airtable as an interface, and Documentero is the software that we use to generate documents. Again, it's right now it's very simple. It's just three columns and 2 rows, but you will have hard time. So as you can see here at the end, if you do something like a docs, simple docs, right, Google Docs, and you do have an ability to create a document from a template, but the problem here is that since we need to input images, it will be very hard to do that using the default docs. So that's why this software is great. But okay, well, more on this later on. So this is how it works. Essentially, we have Airtable interface, user input the car parameters. We use Airtable automation to trigger a webhook in Make. And then when the scenario is finished, we send the document back to Airtable. Okay, now let's go one by one. First, this is the scenario. This is the webhook. We just created the webhook. And in order to trigger it, we need to create an automation in Airtable. So the idea is that when a user will click this checkbox, it will start the automation. By the way, guys, all of these scripts, like this specific script that we run in order to trigger this automation, as well as the blueprint for this make, I will export it. I will upload everything in my resource hub. So to get access, obviously it's free. So first link in the description, and you can just copy and paste it to your project. So I'll have this blueprint, I will have this specific script, as well as just a link to this actor. Actor is the scraper of the, like, this is how Apify calls scrapers, like actors. Okay, so all the information will be available in my resource hub for free, just letting you know. Now, so I will not go over this specific script, but if you like copy this, you would need to and paste it to your project. So you would need to input some variables. So we say, okay, so the make is the make, the model is the model, year is the year. So all these things. And very important, we also provide the record ID, because we will, at the end of this scenario, we update this record with the document that was generated by Documentero. So we need to pass the record ID. If you have no idea how to code, my advice would be just go to Claude. Claude is better than ChatGPT in these scenarios. So just go to Claude, like literally Control A from my resource hub, paste it and say, hey, help me to figure this out, and use this code for my own project. It will guide you through everything. Now, so the idea is that this is the automation, and when a record matches the condition, and the condition is table 1, send request has the check mark. So then when we put the check mark, it will trigger this automation and it will run this script. So if we do the automation history, so this is the automation that we literally just ran on like a few minutes ago. So yeah, like it will essentially trigger this webhook and pass these parameters. So if we go to the data, as you can see, Toyota RAV4. So Toyota RAV4. So we passed all the information from this row to this webhook, as well as the record ID. Okay. Now, when we have this information, the first HTTP request is essentially like an API request, is to the Apify actor. Again, guys, please go to, if you don't understand something, you can ask me in the comments. I reply to each and every comment, or go to Claude and ask for some help. The idea is that when you will install this actor, or obviously if you will build your own scraper, it's going to be easier since you know how it works. But essentially, like when you will install this scraper, and we're still in the test trial again, since like we're not sure if we're going to build our own or not. We actually like contacted the developer just to know maybe he will provide the source code and we can just pay like a few $100s for it. Okay, so for this, like you have the API client as well as the API endpoint. So you have all the information here, and we are essentially using one of the endpoints to trigger the actor, and the actor called whatever auto trader, right? So it will have it somewhere here, like run actor, something like that. Now, the problem is that since obviously we do the authentication and authentication, I'm not sure how to pronounce it correctly. So, and this is the body request. So, and this is like the start URL, right? So this is the URL that the actor will use to scrape the information. And here we provide the year, the make, the model, the cities, the state, the zip code. So all the information that we pass from Airtable, it's available here, and obviously the pages and the max items. So here we will have, in the final versions, we will have probably like 200, so like a max to scrape all the information and then let AI to analyze all of them. But for right now, these are just 2. That's why you saw in the report, you just saw 2 vehicles. Okay, so I think it's pretty clear. The problem is that even though it's a GET request, when we run this like API call, it does not return us the information which was scraped, right? Because again, this is how, from what I understood, this is how API works. So we need to do the second API call, and it's available actually here. So get last run data set items. So this API call just retrieve the last run of this actor, right? So since we just ran it and we receive the latest run, so we receive the information about this specific run. Because yeah, if you go here and the output, we don't like really have anything, right? So we have the information, we have 201, so it was successful, but we don't have the information. But then when we receive the latest run, here in the data, we have the JSON information with all the information about these 2 vehicles. Okay, then the ChatGPT block, which is again very straightforward. By the way, I'll also provide this prompt just in case in my resource hub. So the idea is that we are asking to this, AI to analyze the data, to analyze this JSON, and only output the title URL and the first image URL and structure it in the JSON format. Because again, we just have 3 columns here. We have the whatever, like the image, the title, and the URL. So we don't need all this information. By the way, if you don't want to use AI, since like I'm using it right now, since we're like still will use it when we will have like 200 results, and we will need AI to analyze all the results and match the best, find the best matches based on these comments. So we'll still use it, but if you don't want to use it, you can obviously use the internal tools like aggregators and array aggregators and iterators to work with this JSON file and find JSON output and find all the fields that you need. Anyways, so here, as you can see in the result, we have a very clear JSON output with the title 1, URL 1, image URL 1, title 2, URL 2, image URL 2. So just 2 vehicles, okay? Now we have just the parsed JSON, which essentially gets like this JSON string and separate it into the separate values that we can reference. Okay, and then the Documentero, this is the software. We use them all the time. Actually, this is, I think, brand new account. So here you go to, like, you register and you create the template. So in the template, you specify the variables that you want to use. So for example, let me actually jump into my report and show you how it's gonna work. Okay, so let's say this is the table. And here in the fields, you can find what field you want to reference in the variable. So for example, okay, so let's say you want to input an image, and let's call it image var, and let's insert it. So now you inserted this specific thing, and when you go to make, when you choose this template, it will have this information. So let's actually refresh it. So when we refresh, you will be able to map this variable to one of these results that you got. So it should be somewhere. Wait. Okay. If we go to, where is it? Documentary. Oh, okay. So we didn't save it. So when we save this, okay, and then when we refresh, let's actually go back to the edit. I think you got the idea, right? So you can input different fields with different field types, and this is the advantage over using the internal, Google Docs, because you can specify different fields, the link, the HTML that you want to input in your document. So now it should be updated already. And yeah, so like image var. So you can specify, okay, so this is the variable, and this is like whatever, like this is the URL, like this is the URL. And when it will create the doc, it will paste the URL here. So, and since we do have an image, so essentially you do like an image, you insert an image, and here, if you input the exact URL of the image, final, like dot JPEG or dot PNG, it will like use it and put it as an image and not just link. I think you should get the idea, right? Okay, so it creates the document, and it creates it on the back end. So you don't actually, I think, like, I was not even checking this myself, so I'm not sure if you can see the documents somewhere that were generated here. So, but we were always using it just as an API to create the documents. So in the output, you have the direct URL to this document, 200 documents successful created, and you have the URL. So now you create the Airtable module, and you observe the record. You specify, okay, so this is the Airtable demo, table one, and the record ID. Remember, that's why I said that in the automation, we pass the record ID. So we're like using the same record ID, and we are updating the file URL with the exact URL. And it's great since, again, the formats match perfectly. So that's why you see here just the report. Obviously, you can do the link, and they will click on the link, and they will be able to download it directly, or they can just click here and download it from here. Okay, guys, so I think this is should be pretty understandable. Let's talk on how I got this client. Essentially, we use the same, standard cold outreach system that I was always using. You have, 3-4 videos on my channel that covers it in details. So this is like an email, and I will actually like blur this information. So as you can see in the smart lead, this is the prospect. So we were getting kind of back and forth before jumping on the call. So, and this is like, this was the original email, right? So we say hi, then there's a personalization statement, as I always explain how important this is. So if you can, like, okay, like I provide it to you so that, I don't think that it's too sensitive information. Here, as you can see, this is the cold outreach, but he got the email with the information that is only relevant to the prospect, right? So essentially, the AI and using Clay, right? So we are using Clay to personalize all the emails. We got the leads from Apollo. So we scraped the leads, then we uploaded the leads into the Apollo, into the clay.com, and then we asked AI agent to go to the website, output the service that the company is selling, or the products that they sell, and then we are referencing it in the cold email. So here, this was kind of the question with where we mentioned the specific service. That's why they thought that, okay, so it's kind of personalized, so it's not some generic spam email. Then there's a call to action, and I said let me know, and this is like the signature. Okay, I almost forgot to mention one thing. So I said that I'll explain how much we charged, and you probably saw it in the title. So initially, we obviously, after we did the cold outreach, we hop on the sales call and did the quick prototype. I didn't even charge them for the prototype, since I was also very curious to work with the company. So it was like we didn't charge anything. It was like, we call this is the demo, so the demos are free, but then we charge for the prototype. For the prototype, we charge $300. So we charged $300 for the prototype. It took probably like 3 days to fulfill. And then when they saw the prototype as well as the demo, because the demos are usually not directly correlated with the business, so it's not the things that the business can use. It's just for them to see that we are a real deal and we know what we're doing. So it was the demo, then the prototype for like $300. And this solution is essentially like $6,500. This is what we charged. They paid us 60%, I think, already, and the other half will be paid when it's going to be done. Then we are planning to charge a retainer like this subscription, which probably going to be somewhere between $500 to $700, depending on the volume of requests. Again, we're still not sure, since we're like not even sure what are all the platforms that we're going to use. So for now, we're going step by step, but it's going to be somewhere in this range. Okay. So I hope you like this video. If you do, put a like. Again, you have all the information available in my resource hub for free. So first link in the description. Yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.